Yeah, there they are.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an emergency edition of Cardinal Territory. The Cardinals made a big move today. I'm Jim Hayes, joined by Matt Holliday and Lance Lynn. We're going to try to break this trade down for you folks at home. Just the basics. Sonny Gray waives his no trade clause, dealt to Boston for two pitchers. We're talking about left-handed prospect Brandon Clark and Dick Fitz, a 25-year-old right-hander who has made 14 big league starts in his career. Thank you for smiling, gentlemen. $31 million for this year for Sonny, plus 10 mil for the buyout, and the Cards are going to pay $20 million of that. So those are the details. Matt Holliday, you have a big grin on your face. What are your thoughts?
Well, he took some liberties. Is listed as Richard Fitz. I don't know that he told you you could call him Dick, but I guess you took some liberties with that. I think. Look, I knew the quality of return was going to depend on the amount of money the Cardinals were willing to pick up. So I think and 20 million's a lot. I mean, throwing $20 million on top of Sonny Gray makes me think that they're pretty excited about the two prospects they got back. I looked at the notes about the lefty, the young lefty they got, 97, 98 miles an hour on his fastball from a lefty. I haven't seen Dick pitch much, but I got to think that they're pretty high on these guys to give a pitcher as quality as Sonny Gray and throw 20 million on top.
So with Clark, he's a big kid, Lance, 6'4", 220. Again, good fastball, good sweeper. And Fitz is a guy who has some major league experience. You think he might be rotation ready if that's the direction that the Cards go? Just sum up the trade for us. What are your thoughts?
I think you had a high upside lefty, to be honest, but you also have a lot of walks there. If you look at his numbers, there's quite a bit of you know command issues. But he's young. He throws hard, so maybe you can hone some of that in. I think they're both projects. I think when you look at what they've done, what their stuff entails, and stuff like that, they've got a chance to be big league pieces. Fitz has already been there, but he's dealt with some injuries. I think he's got uh, some deception issues that he might need to clean up to help his stuff play a little bit better. It's got he seems to struggle a little bit with some deception and all that stuff. But I think that the Cardinals are kind of trying to get swing and miss young stuff, and they think they got that with them. It's a wait and see. I think the lefty's got a chance to be big upside, and I think Fitz is kind of what he is. Maybe add a pitch here and there to kind of get him some more deception, and get him a little different look on maybe a righty or lefty of things that he's struggling with. But I don't think either one of them are big league plug and plays yet. There's a work on both of them.
So Sonny was a teammate of yours, Lance. He'll be 36. And as Kyle Gibson likes to say, I don't know where he gets it. He's not here with us tonight. But he likes to say he gets the $41 million bag. But Sonny's going to be 36. I don't know what age never caught up with you, Lance Lynn, but it does sometimes with other players. What do you think the Red Sox are getting with Sonny Gray? They were looking for front of the rotation guy. He certainly fills the bill. I don't know if he's a one, two. How do you look at it?
Well, I mean, they've got a one in Crochet, so whatever Sonny brings to the table is a plus for them. And they've got guys that have pitched well enough to be twos there already on their rotation. But Sonny's got back-to-back 200 plus, 200 strikeout seasons. So his stuff's still there. Swing and miss is still there. He's able to do the job. So I would say in Boston it's a little bit sunnier, and in St. Louis it's a little bit grayer, in my opinion.
Now, Matt Holliday, you look at Sonny
Ah,
Delight.
j-
Uh,
just a second.
yeah,
Sonny and I play
yeah.
together in New York as well. So I'm
Okay.
also a former teammate of Sonny Gray. Just so that's
How do you
clear.
know I wasn't going to get to that? How do you know I wasn't going to get to that?
Because you
I was just
totally asked Lance, like,
I
oh,
was
you're a
I
former
was I
teammate.
was teammates twice. I was teammates twice with him. That's what he was
I
getting at.
was just, I was, listen, I was just going back to back with Lance. And then I was going to follow up with, like, Sonny Gray was top 5 in baseball in terms of strikeouts to walk ratio. Still very effective. Matt Holliday, he's a former teammate. I think it was in New York you played with Sonny Gray. Just your thoughts on what the Sox are getting.
Well, I think, like Lance said, they have Garrett Crochet and you have Brian Bayo, and then you can slot Sonny 2, 3. Um, I mean, I think the American League East just continues to get better. I mean, I'm waiting for Jackson's Orioles to start jumping in the mix on some of these guys and start elevating maybe some of their starting pitching. But um, it's it's another, like Lance said, he's still striking people out. He slots in. I think he likes. I think he'll like. I mean, it's not a great place to pitch. I mean, obviously with the Green Monster being so close, but I think he'll thrive in that environment. Especially not having to be the ace. He's a great guy, great teammate. So we'll see. But I for the Red Sox to get Sonny Gray and 20 million. So they're basically, for that value, I hope these guys turn out for the Cardinals because that's pretty good value for a pitcher of Sonny's caliber.
And that's a lot of money for the Cardinals to pay. But Heim Bloom took over. This is really his first major move. Lance, he said, "I'm going to get right to it. He's going to be aggressive." And again, he's trying to balance short term with long term. He said today, when addressing the media, though, that sometimes if there's sort of a jump ball, they're going to address long term. This is certainly, or on face value, seems like a long term move.
Yeah, I mean, here's the way you look at it. Okay, they got rid of $40 million off the book. That's what he was going to cost them. They gave, and they gave 20 back. So they've got two pitchers, one big lefty with some upside. The other guy is kind of like a probably back of the rotation, ceiling guy, probably a mid reliever, big league caliber ready guy. Probably has some stuff he needs to clean up, especially mechanically, just to stay healthy because he's dealt with some injuries. And you have $20 million that you can kind of maybe go after some free agents. So all in all, it's a wait and see. Especially maybe if they reallocate that 20 that they got off the books for maybe 2 or 3 guys that they can platoon with or reliever or something here and see where it goes. So it's definitely a wait and see. But when you're pretty much getting Sonny Gray for 1 year for $20 million for two prospects, I think that's a good deal for Boston, to be honest with you. So, but it's a wait and see on the Cardinal side, and they got a little extra cash to add, hopefully, to their team this year to see where it takes them.
And Matt, when you are dealing with younger pitchers who haven't established themselves at the big league level, I think Lance has it right. It's wait and see. And I think if you're the Red Sox, you have to see how 36-year-old Sonny Gray adapts to pitching in Boston. But face value, it sort of seems like both teams accomplished what they were looking to. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, they said they're going to try to trade Nolan. They're going to try to trade Contreras. They're going to try to trade Sonny. Like I said earlier, they're going to have to eat money to get the more money that they eat, the better return they're going to get. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes, especially with players that are getting into their mid 30s, and so they have some money. The payroll is not going to be real high, especially if they're able to unload Contreras and Nolan, so that they can give away some money to try to build their prospect group, build the because it looks to me like they're aiming for getting back into things in a year, maybe two. And so these are adding prospects to the guys they like already. Again, talking about the lefty, he hasn't. I don't think he's made it out of A ball yet. He's 22, so there's obviously Lance talked about the command issues. there's a lot to be learned, I think, about for the lefty for sure. I mean, at least the Fitz kid has pitched in the big leagues a little bit. So, but I think you'll see a similar type of trade when it comes to Contreras and Nolan, where they'll probably pay down some of the money to get young A-ball, prospects would be my guess.
Matt brings up a great point. What will the next shoe to drop be? What's it all about for the Cardinals? We'll talk about that when we come back. You're watching an emergency edition of Cardinal Territory.
If you are still carrying a clunky leather brick that can be mistaken for an old school wallet, may I introduce you to what Eric Kratz is getting himself for the holidays?
I mean, this is the greatest wallet that I've ever seen in my life. Your credit cards fit in here. It's adjustable, lifetime guaranteed. Like this is a must-have for the holidays. Absolute must-have.
Ridge Olive Matte. That is the design that Kratz has right now, and you can get a hold of that. There's over 50 plus colors and styles to choose from over at Ridge. You can even get a wallet that features every NFL, MLB, or college team. And for a limited time, Ridge is having their huge Black Friday sale. Head to ridge.com/foul to get up to 47% off your order. This is by far the biggest discount they've given all year. That's ridge.com/foul for up to 47% off your order during their biggest sale of the year. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about Ridge. Tell them Foul Territory sent you.
That is one handsome wallet. We could use some of those if they want to send them our way. Hey, we were talking before the break about what are the next moves that Heim might make. Lance, I'm going to go with you. All right, Arenado, I think it's kind of definite that he's gone. Heim has even said it. Arenado says he's on board with it. I think the interesting one, and Heim mentioned it today, that things are kind of on the same track as they were right after the season with Wilson Contreras. Except I was here at the end of the season when Wilson said he wants to stay. How do you see that going?
No, I see. If you're getting rid of Sonny, you're going to get rid of Nolan and Wilson. If there's a deal there that makes sense for both sides. Obviously, they have no trades, so I think that you're going to see maybe one of those guys tied in with an arbitration guy that has some value, but they're also looking to maybe cut payroll and be coming to the end of his arbitration years and might be a free agent. So maybe they'll get a little bit back prospect wise and or not have to eat as much money. So I think that's kind of the play moving. Sonny was your chance to get it, a couple prospects back, and they were able to throw some money in. So they're gonna throw money in with what they got going on. Maybe they throw an arbitration guy that's coming to the end of arbitration years, about to be free agency, and then going from there.
What do you see as the next possibility, Matt Holliday?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on how fast each market moves, as far as who needs what. Um, I also read in the notes that they're talking about lefties, and the teams are showing interest in JoJo, and possibly acquiring him. So I think there's going to be a lot of trades. I think the Cardinals are going to make a lot of trades. I think this is the first shoe to drop. And then I look, I think it's probably, I would say it's probably Contreras to go next, because I think Arenado's deal could come down to where Alex Bregman ends up, just like it did last year. If he ends up back, with the Red Sox, then maybe some other places. But if if the Red Sox aren't able to re-sign him, could they revisit that trade that was kind of talked about last year? I think that's Nolan's preference if that could be made. But I would say it's probably Contreras, just because I think Nolan is relied heavily on what Bregman does, and maybe a couple other guys.
You played in the big leagues for a long time, Matt. So I'm going to double up on this one. You're a veteran guy, and you have a no trade, and there's a lot of reasons why you might say I want to stay. Maybe it's leverage. I don't know. But Contreras has said, I want to stay. I haven't completed my mission. I like the young guys. I want to help them get to the next level. As a veteran major leaguer, what would change your mind about a possibility of a trade when you have a no trade clause?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of things could come into the factor. What city is it? What how good a chance do they have to win the World Series in your mind? Do you have friends on the team? If you talk to your family, is your wife and kids on board with certain cities to move to? Or are you just flat out comfortable with where you're at and you signed in St. Louis to be there the whole time and you bought a house and you're just going to ride it out? I mean, maybe that's his stance. I don't know, but I think if winning the World Series and playing meaningful games in September, October, and the Cardinals are sending signals that that's probably not this year, then I think for a guy like him, then like again, the city, the players on the team. Um, Maybe an extension. I don't know. All those things can change your mind about waiving your no trade clause. But it'll be interesting to see. Maybe he just wants to be in St. Louis and sticks to his guns and just comes back.
I was hoping that while Matt was talking, Lance would text Contreras and say, "Where you at with this?" But you were teammates with him. What do you think he's going to do? Do you think he was just saying, because he's been here a while, he likes playing in St. Louis, he wants to say, is that something you can sort of talk to him about and kind of get him to move a little?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, is if you look up and you're the last one standing, if Nolan's gone and Sonny's gone, and there's a chance for you to have somewhere to win, I think that's where it's like, okay, I should probably go too. I think, and Wilson's a guy that he likes where he's at. He's comfortable where he's at. He likes the people that are around him. But when the people change, and then when the vibe is pretty obvious what it is, where you're the last guy standing, and you're going to change your tune a little bit. That's the way I see it. He is very locked into what he's doing and the way he wants to go about things. And I think during the season, that's what he was thinking. He's like, hey, I don't want to be anywhere else. That's who I am. But when you look at it, it's like, man, maybe it is time to go because there's no one left that I kind of signed here with or things like that. So I think there could be a realignment in his thinking if a right team in the right place, people that he knows are there to waive that no trade.
When you hear, Lance, the term prospect, like Clark, the number 5 prospect for the Red Sox, his age, 22, or someone like Matthews with the Cardinals, Doyle, guys possibly for the rotation. Do you think that there's sort of this, especially if you're rooting for that team, this innate thing where you want to overvalue prospects because sometimes the path isn't as quick as you would hope?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a team in the rebuild or retooling or whatever you want to call it, you're gonna say, "Oh man, look at this prospect. He throws 97 from the left side, blah blah blah." So you're gonna obviously, hype that up to give you something to build around. I think Matt and I have known anywhere you're at, if you've got a guy that's never played above A ball or even in Double A or been to Triple A, you have no idea what this anybody's about yet until they get to those levels to see certain things, and then the jump from AAA to the big leagues is even bigger. So on the prospect side of things, until I see them in a full year of AAA or that nature, you really don't know what you have. So you saw that with Quinn Matthews last year. He skyrocketed through the minor leagues and then got sent to AAA out of camp after being minor league pitcher of the year, and the game got a little quick for him this year, but that could be a huge learning step for him. So maybe that transition to the big leagues might not be as harsh, and he hits the ground running there. So but he had a little step back this year, so you got to wait and see on these guys, and you got to give them some time in the upper levels against quality opponents that are big league ready and or are just as talented as them, because in the minor leagues, and not until you get to triple A are you really tested, in my opinion. And then the big leagues is even worse. So it's a wait and see on all these prospects. But you always love a 6'4", 220-pound lefty. I will say that.
Holliday, there was one time where you were a prospect. You have one son in the majors, another kid is a prospect. You've been around a long time. You can't guarantee what someone's going to be just by looking, but if you're kicking the tires on a prospect, what are you looking for?
Well, I mean, I think pure talent and stuff. like, if this guy really does this 96 to 98 from the left side, that's a good jumping off point. Obviously secondary pitches are very important. So I think the bones of his ability are good, but it's like Lance said. I mean, you have a lot of polish that you have to add to be a really good major league pitcher. I mean, he has to, you have to command the ball. You have to be able to throw your secondary pitches and fastball counts. You have to have a strikeout pitch. The bones are great, but like I said, the polish to me, like the makeup, I'd love to, kind of know his makeup of how, how competitive he is, his work ethic, how much he loves baseball, how much he loves his craft. All those things are going to play into whether or not that God-given ability is going to show up in the big leagues. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, and there's like nowadays there's a lot of guys out there that throw 96 to 100. That's not necessarily like you see it every day in the minor leagues. You see it every day in the big leagues. So that doesn't really jump off the page like it did 10, 15 years ago. So he's going to have to evolve with his command and secondary pitches to end up fulfilling his talent.
Sometimes it's a guessing game. And when we come back from break, I'm going to have these guys give their best guess as to who winds up in the Cardinal rotation. Stay with us.
Kratz, we picked you to talk about MeUndies, not just because they're ridiculously comfortable, but also because they are very festive. When the holiday season hits, you go on the website and there are just so many more designs to check out. And they just scream Eric Kratz getting little matching sets with everybody that he knows.
You know what? They're called MeUndies, not you-undies. So you go in and you say, this one's for me. This set is for me. This is what is good for me. Not you-undies, MeUndies. A lot of different ones to choose from.
I'm so confused, but what I do know is that you can knock out all of your holiday gifting needs today with MeUndies, and to get the exclusive holiday deals up to 50% off, MeUndies.com/foul. Enter promo code FOUL. That's MeUndies.com/FOUL. Promo code is FOUL for up to 50% off. Matching holiday prints with your person? You can't beat that.
So Sonny Gray is gone, headed to Boston. The Cardinals and Chaim Bloom looking to retool that starting rotation. I wanted to ask you guys. So I looked at it this way. Like, to me, there's three guys who I put in pen in my starting rotation. And granted, I could still get White out and cover those up. But there's three guys I think are going to be there. I'm going to give you mine first. I got Libby, McGreevy, and Leahy was in the bullpen last year, but I think Leahy's a lock that already talked about. They like his stuff. They want him to stretch out and come to camp as a starter. Those are my three that I have in pen. Matt Holliday, who do you have in the rotation? Who you interested in seeing in there?
Honestly, I don't know, enough about it. I probably need to read up on who the other candidates are. I'm sure Lance knows better than I do. But I think the guy they just got, Fitz, is going to get a good look. I mean, you don't trade Sonny Gray for a guy and then not give him every opportunity to be in your rotation. So I would guess that he's probably got a pretty good chance at getting one of those spots. And then again, I think you go into spring training and you start looking at everybody. If you've got bullpen guys that have been starters in the minor leagues, you start looking for guys that can hold their stuff for 4 to 6 innings. Like, I just think that at this point, if you're not really trying necessarily to make the playoffs, I think everybody is an option. And so I think that outside of your short one inning type relievers that are a little bit older, I think all of them will be under consideration, to be honest with you. I think every guy they invite to big league camp is going to have a chance at that fifth starter spot. So Lance would probably have, a little bit better idea than I do, having been there, recently. But I think it could be a lot of different guys.
I know Lance is a Palante guy. He's certainly in the mix. You got Quinn Matthews. You got Liam Doyle, and again, Leahy could be a new piece. How do you see it going?
I think the three that you named are locks, and I think Palante's a lock if healthy in spring training and throwing the ball. To be honest with you, just being healthy, those four, you have to go with those four, and then you're going to have to find a fifth and a sixth because Leahy's not going to be able to give you. I mean, you can't count on any of them to be a truthful 30 start guy. So it's got to be you're looking at six for sure right out of the gate. So then you run Fitz and you can and Matthews out there probably, and then you're probably going to start Doyle in the minor leagues, and then have him filter in throughout the year. So that's my four. Plante's a lock, and then you have the three that you said, and then the 5, 6, 7 guys are going to kind of rotate throughout the year unless they sign somebody else.
And you probably need to be at spring training, 8, 9 deep with possible starters because people always get hurt early on, right? We can
Yeah, I
all
mean you're
agree
looking
on
at
that.
what they have right now. They've got 7 to 8 just in house, and there's going to be if you're looking at what they still have left to do in the trade wise, they're going to get another double A, triple A starter most likely. And everybody still wants to give Tink Hintz a chance too. So maybe there's a guy that, hey man, if we can get 100 innings out of him this year, and we can have some starts throughout the year in the big leagues and kind of get his feet wet, there's another guy. So if you're going youth, this is what you do. But you have to have innings so you don't kill your bullpen, and Palante can give you those, and he's the only one that has kind of been in the rotation the last 2 years to build in there. And then you have what Libby did last year. McGreevy's been in the AAA rotation, so he's been able to get the innings that he needs. And then the rest of them, you're going to have to say, hey, let's hope to get 100 to 120, maybe 140 innings out of a couple of them, and you're going to have 8 guys to be able to do that to 10, most likely.
The Heim Bloom era is underway in St. Louis. Gentlemen, thank you for being part of our emergency Cardinal Territory. Hopefully, we shed some light on the move that sends Sonny Gray to Boston. That's going to do it for this edition. Hopefully, the next edition of Cardinal Territory won't suck. Thanks for joining us.